Good evening, Knicks Nation. Welcome to our next edition of Sky Hoops Knicks Dreams. To join the conversation, drop your comments in the chat, and I'll be sharing the link to become a panelist if you want to jump in and chop it up with us. So, with that being said, I want to welcome our main man, H2O, in the house. Be like water, brother. Talk to us.
Thank you, Santana. Uh, no, I mean, and welcome everyone. Um, it's good to get back on a winning track. Good to see them play together. Good ball, good ball movement for most of the game. Um, good to see that they had a decent third quarter. Which is it has been one of our Achilles heel. You know, this third quarter woes. Not tonight. Not tonight. Tonight we're able to, at least for one night, we solve that problem. Again, hate to see the fact that we are so short-handed, but love to see the fact that because of that, his coach has had to play players that he would not have played had he had other players to put out there, and they have not disappointed. And by that I mean Kemba Walker.
Well, yeah, man. Look, this is a game that they were supposed to win. Of course, Detroit has the worst record in the league. Yeah, they're young. They're learning how to play at this level. Um, and of course, the Knicks, they should be further along than Detroit. So they did what they had to do. And that's the most important thing, that they didn't play down to the competition and make it a stinker, because that's one of the criticisms of this team this year is that, when they've had those ugly losses, generally they've had it when they play down to the competition. And in this game, that didn't happen, in spite of the fact that, yeah, they were missing players because of the protocols. But you know what? Other teams are missing players too. So we can't use that as an excuse. We got to go out there. You got to man up, next man up. And, that's why you have the G League. That's why you have guys that, for the most part, Tibbs doesn't use, get the opportunity to play. Today, even though they didn't have Barrett, they didn't have Obi, they didn't have Quickly, they did have other veterans out there. You still have Fournier, you have Walker, you have Randall, you had Noel. Mitch played a decent game today too. You know what I mean? So it's not like you have a bunch of rookies that may not know how to play or aren't playing up to what people would expect on the floor. They had some veterans out there that been there, done that. And so when you have those guys, there's no excuses, especially against a team like Detroit. Um, and Detroit wasn't fully with their full roster either, because their full roster is a problem. These guys like to run, and they like to run and gun, and they didn't really play that style today, which worked to our advantage. They had little moments here and there, but not enough to overwhelm the Knicks. Pretty much the Knicks, won this game wire to wire. So it wasn't a game where there was a threat of them losing this game. And even though, yes, they had a big lead, and they gave up that lead, it got down to 10 or 11 or so. They eventually they had command of the game, and they were able to just go out there and actually win the game. And I'm happy that they did, because this helps their confidence, and hopefully this will be a start of a new streak. But with that being said, go ahead, brother. Rock and roll. Rock and roll.
Um, yeah, once again, I agree with you with regards to the fact that you know they won the games that they're supposed to win. Um, and I'm not going to hammer them too much for losing the games that they were supposed to win. But then this is a beginning. This is a new start. This is a new look. Hopefully, this will lead to, them playing together. I heard Mitchell, he was interviewed at the end, and he alluded to the fact, well, not alluded, he plainly said that we had a team meeting. So they themselves are aware of the fact that they are playing below their capability. And so that's good to hear. That's good to know, that at least they are having these discussions and that they feel that they should be better than what they are or than what their record says they are. But I heard an interesting point earlier today, and that is that at this time last year they were in the same place. They were about one game below 500 or two games below 500. After what are we talking about? What are we now? 14 and 17 after 31 games. Okay. So, and that's when, things turned around for them a little bit. This year, I didn't expect it to be the same way because of the addition of Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier and the development of the other players. And so, we lost games when we were at full contingency, when we had all of our players that we shouldn't have lost. I'm not going to go back. I'm hoping that now we have seen how good these young guys can play. We have seen that the veterans are playing a little better, even if it's, just a 2-game, a small sample. Okay. They did lose to Boston, but we were shorthanded and we played well. Against this team, we did what we were supposed to do. A loss tonight would have been really embarrassing, and so salute to you, Simon. So I like the fact that I saw a little bit of the old Mitchell Robinson tonight. He had a spring to his step. He was blocking shots. He was catching rebounds. He was catching alley oops. He even blocked somebody trying to take a 3-point shot and then ran down there and tried to fight him for the ball. I mean, like, whoa, don't get too crazy. But at least, he's putting in a lot of effort. A lot of effort I saw from him tonight. So, again, Evan Fournier, if he can relax in his new uniform and this situation, I think things are going to look better.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, this is a game they were supposed to win. It's good for their confidence. If they had a team meeting, that's a good thing, among the players. They taking stock for how they're playing, holding each other accountable, and expecting to go out there and playing better. So that's good. Um, in terms of individual play, uh, yeah, Walker, he had a good game and a good offensive game. He was energized. He played, good, commanding basketball, and we know that on the offensive end, he's going to play good games. Uh, I guess in terms of his defense, the one thing I'll give him credit on the defense that he's pretty good at is drawing fouls in terms of offensive fouls. So he's been doing that pretty consistently throughout the games that he has played, and he showed that today. Um, so in that respect, I gotta give him credit. Mitch, he stuck himself underneath the rim and got rebounds and went out there and blocked some shots. That's good. He's still a little clumsy, and I think he needs to work on his balance a little bit because he's always on the floor, and it's like he goes up and he comes down, and there's no need for him to fall. But I think it's like a natural reaction that he just drops to the floor, and I think that's only gonna hurt him in terms of getting injured. He has to learn how to land. But he played a good game today. Again, he didn't have a big center that he had to defend against. He didn't have a 3-point shooting center that he had to defend against.
Right.
That's where he gets exposed. Um, he doesn't get exposed that much if a guy's playing back to the basket, close to the rim, because that's where Mitch Robinson's strength is below the basket. But when you're dealing with these shooting centers that they pull him out to the 3-point line, that's where you see him having problems. So that's why I say, I put this game in context because I'm looking at what are the matchups, what's the team, how good is the team that they're playing, and then of course, the flow of the game. Um, in terms of Fournier, he had his moments here and there. It was a good team effort. Everybody contributed, um, and they won. They won, and that's all we can ask. Now, in terms of comparison to last year and this year, and them being maybe one game behind of the pace they were at last year, well, that's one way of looking at it in terms of record, but you also have to look at, what do the numbers really say, in terms of statistically. And they're nowhere near what they were last year in terms of their defensive numbers. Top in the league in defense, team defense, they're not there. You know what I'm saying? And then, I don't know what the offensive numbers are right now, but nonetheless, it's a matter of them improving on that. They need to improve on that because this year, unlike last year, teams are going to be gunning for them. Last year, they snuck up on teams. This year, they're not sneaking up on anybody. So, that being said, you have to tighten up your approach, especially on the defensive end, because that's the identity that we had last year. This year, we're still trying to find it. We haven't figured out our identity. The only thing that I think they've articulated, and they want to make it their identity, is that they want to shoot more threes. In other words, they're averaging 43s this year as opposed to 33s last year. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're shooting better, but they're shooting more. And so that's something that they have to be mindful of because that opens up their defense to being exposed, and especially a transition defense. So if your defense isn't tight to begin with going into the game, and now you want to shoot threes because you just want to try to be Golden State when you're not, you're asking for trouble. But when you bump and grind, slow the game down, run plays, that's who we are. Let's not try to be who we're not, because that's not the kind of game that we have. There was a Dotson signing, a sighting. He was there for 4 minutes, but I think in time they'll use him a little bit more, which is good because he can shoot.
So
Dotson can shoot. So it's just a matter of time of him getting those minutes. But we'll see. We'll see because once the team is back to full strength, it's going to be a question of how much Tibbs goes to the bench. Hopefully he will, but that's a wait and see approach. With that being said, I want to drop the mic down to my main man, G Money the Prodigy. Talk to us, brother. Tell us what you think about this game.
what's shaking and baking, H2L and Santana. I'm happy that we got a win against a mediocre team, against a bad team. We just need to be more consistent in third. Mitchell Robinson, it was a block party and a slammer jammer party in MSG. Evan Fournier, he didn't shoot great, but he hit some tough shots here and there. Kemba Walker, I think, did a good job running the offense and some mid-range getting guys involved. Julius Randle, he played all right at times. He just needs to learn to not do too much with the ball. He needs to learn to not pout to the referees. He just needs to learn to, just calm down, play to his game. And also, even Wayne Selden played all right. Damian Dawson, I think we could give him more minutes because, like you said, he's a shooter. And I love how Fifth made the right rotations tonight because when the Pistons put within 5, I'm like, here we go again. But thank God the Knicks did a good job sharing the ball, doing a lot bounce passing. I love lobs, especially Kemba and Mitch. Pick and roll was great. And also, I loved how we kept getting Mitch involved. And the defense, must improve because we can't rely on Mitch alone. Noel has to protect the rim. Julius has to close down the shooters and all that. If we want to, go far, if we want to make the playoffs and do something there. And also, we just need to just limit turnovers, not these crazy, lazy passing. If we want to do something. And like I said, that third quarter, we just need to learn to be consistent at third quarter. And also to start the fourth quarter. If we can learn to jump on teams, especially the teams who are supposed to beat early and get guys involved, share the ball, we should be fine. I loved how we hold the Pistons under 30% shooting. I loved how we hold the Pistons under 35% shooting from 3. We did a good job containing Cade Cunningham. And that's why I thought we did a good job. And like I said, it was a total team effort. Certain teams need to fix on if we want to win games, and that's the thing with me. And that's my analysis of the game. So with that, I'm going to do an alley-oop to my man H2O.
Thank you, Prodigy. Like we did much better. I was mentioning it before you came on. That we didn't have those third quarter woes. And, our third quarter was way better than it's been in a long time. True. However, we did give up the same amount of points that we scored in that third quarter. We scored 32. They scored 32. So our defense wasn't that great in that third quarter. And you know what? I think at some point during that third quarter, he had Noel, he had Taj, he had Selden, he had Burks, and I'm not sure if Randall was there with them. It had to be Randall because then, that was it. Nobody else. I mean, he never had a Noel and Mitchell in at the same time. And that's when I think the defense kind of, broke down and they went on a little bit of a run. And whatchamacallit, he was getting off. He shot a lot there in that third quarter. What's his name? Trey Lyles. Trey Lyles started making some shots. I think they won that game basically in that first half. Okay. They kind of like, that's when they ran away from them. I think at the end of the half, it's like, what is it, like 47-36 or something like that?
49-30. I think it was, let me see, was it? It was 48-37.
Right. And then at one point, they came out and they scored something like 9 in a row to start the third quarter, and that's when they ran away from them. But towards the end of that quarter, it was like even. It was like they were still, 9 points away. And then in the fourth quarter, they let it get as close as 5 points before he came back with Kemba Walker and their starting unit, which was Kemba. Oh, but I'm not even sure who started, but I think they had Mitchell, Kemba, who else? Burks, Randall, and Evan Fournier, and they brought it, back to where they kind of basically just started playing better ball together, Whereas in other games they might have had a letdown, they picked it right back up, because one of the things about Evan Fournier, and sometimes it's because he's not even playing in the fourth quarter, but he tends to get his points in the first half And then in the second, third, and fourth quarter, he kind of like, where is he? Like we don't hear much from him. In this game, he continued to stay aggressive. And I think he ended up with about 20, 22 points, So for the last several games, he's been scoring the way I thought that he was going to score in order to make us more of an offensive team. I really don't like the idea that, we all of a sudden want to become a 3-point shooting team. I mean, I know I heard that conversation somewhere, but, our strength is in playing defense and creating opportunities off that defense, So until we can prove otherwise, that's the way that, it has to be. And because of Mitchell Robinson's defense, we were able to get a lot of those opportunities in tonight's game. You just didn't see us walking the ball up most of the, we normally do, and trying to set up some play when the defense is already waiting for you down there. So, I was happy to see a very good game. Okay. And I see that everybody contributed. Randall can't complain about 21 points and 11 rebounds.
True.
Fournier, 22 points. Kemba Walker, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Okay. And Mitchell Robinson, 17 points, 14 rebounds. If I could get that anything near those some double like that from him every night. And I don't think they even mentioned the blocks. What he said, he had about 4 or 5 blocks. So he was big. It was big. So take it away, Santana.
This is a confidence booster, and ideally you want to build off of this, especially you're going to play Washington next, and Washington hasn't been winning recently. They started off hot in the beginning of the season, and they've cooled off since then.
Not to interrupt you, the Wizards started off 10-3, then they were suspended. They were 5-12 to be 15-15. They recently beat the Jazz in Utah, so now they're 16-15. They had lost 4 in a row until they won in Utah. So yeah,
right. So basically, this is an opportunity. They're going to come to the Garden, and the Knicks, be home and stuff like that, and they could, turn this victory into another victory. Because then on Saturday they got to play the Hawks, and that's going to be another barn burner. So I'm hopeful that the Knicks will take what they got out of today's game, but putting it in context again, matchups were in our favor, and so when the matchups are in our favor, then definitely we can put the kind of output that we had today and ultimately have the outcome that we had today. Now when we play Washington, we'll see how we match up against them. And yes, that's great. Mitch had a nice game, but remember, it's about matchups too. And he didn't have a perimeter shooting center that pulled him away from the basket. For the most part, he was living in the paint, which is great. Take advantage of what the defense gives you, and if that plays into his strength, so be it. The key to him is consistency in terms of being able to stay on the floor, and on top of that, not getting hurt, and then showing up. When you have better quality players that you're playing against, being able to maintain that same level of output that we had today against those other teams. Otherwise, then they neutralize him. Then it doesn't help us. But overall, it was a nice team effort. They won. They played good team basketball. There wasn't that many isolation plays. There was a few here and there, but not not throughout the entire game. And ultimately, they won this game wire to wire. And that, you you can't complain about that. It's a beautiful thing. But again, it's about building on this momentum, building the confidence, playing with the guys that you have, and then when you get your regular guys, figuring out a way to be able to utilize all of those players, because the strength going into this season is their depth. But he didn't really use it. Now he's forced to use it now because of the COVID protocols. But the key is being able to use it when you have full strength. So with that being said, I'm gonna drop it off to G Money. Go ahead, G Money. Rock.
What's going on? And I am gonna rock my Mitch did on the Pistons tonight, and I'm gonna rock the rim. Also, what I loved about New York taking care of Detroit was the fact that if I want to bring certain things here, and also I loved how we were out rebounding the Pistons. We could be better in the paint. We could be better in the paint, but I loved how we limit our turnovers a little bit at times. We out rebound the Pistons. The only thing we need to do is to crash the glass, especially on the defensive glass, and also need to work on our offensive rebound. And I loved how we were physical with Cade Cunningham, not letting off his floater game, not letting him get those open threes. And even though we did a good job with Shalik Bey too, because Bey couldn't hit open shots, so we closed out on him at times. So that's what helped us tonight. And Kemba Walker utilized the mid-range game. He was attacking the rack, like I said, doing the pick and roll with Mitch. Fournier, he didn't shoot well tonight, but I thought I loved his aggressiveness. He just needs to be better with his shot selection a little bit. And Julius Randle played well, crashing the glass, hit some tough shots, and that's what I like seeing. And like I said, Mitchell Robinson, not only offensively, defensively, clogging that plane, protecting the rim, protecting the passing lanes, protecting. I loved how we were up by 10. He had that big block on lead to virtually seal the game for us. That was big for us. And we know we just need to just do a better job, finding the open end, do more give and goes, more cuts, limit turnovers, and just, not take the bad team seriously. Don't joke around. Don't screw around. We put this team away early. I know the Pistons made a run, but I loved how we closed it out. We just need to learn how to be consistent if we want to win these games. And hey, we snapped our 5-game home slide. We hadn't won a home game since we beat the Lakers in November. Thank God we snapped that out of it. And we haven't won 2 in a row, period, since October. So let's try to be on a streak against the Wizards. Mikey, watch out for the guard. Watch out for Dinwiddie going to rack. Don't get out of his hands. Double team him. Watch out for Kyle Kuzma, sworn to perimeter, and watch out for Bertans too, because Bertans can hit some tough threes too. And the good news is that KCP won't play because he's in protocol. So that's the good news for us. I mean,
yeah, but you got Beals. You got still Beals.
You still have Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal can get hot. Be physical with Bradley Beal. Be physical with Bradley Beal. Don't let Bradley Beal go to the rack. Take the ball out of his hands. And we got to rebound the ball over Gafford, because Gafford's an energy guy. So that's the thing of what we need to do if New York wants to pull this win out. And just like I said, keep the Wizards off the free throw line, because Washington's very good at making free throws. And, prevent the Wizards from getting into transition. Prevent the transition game with Washington. Force into a half-court game, one-shot game. And, if you Julius Randle, be physical in the paint. He had a good game. He had an all right game tonight. Just be physical in the paint. Get the Wizards base in foul trouble. And my thing before I pass the ball to H2O, just like I said, watch out for Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma, this is going to be a game for him to get hot. So we just got to watch out for him, especially at the three-point line. So with that, I'm going to do a no-look pass my man H2O.
Thank you. And Simon Barr, he was asking who were the Pistons' bigs. So
Trey Lyles,
Isaiah Stewart. Radio that he wasn't watching. And basically they have Isaiah Stewart and Trey Lyles. I guess they had him playing at center, I guess. There was nobody else. I mean,
By the way, Simon Barr is Bill Stradamus Esquire.
Oh.
All right. Woohoo. Excellent. All right. Salute to you. Yeah, well, with regards to the next game, being that you already brought up the Washington Wizards, and then Santana was talking about the fact that how is Mitchell going to do against, a 3-point shooting center. They don't really have a 3-point shooting center themselves. Okay,
True.
so hopefully that will not be one of our issues. Our issues will probably be Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma.
And
So
especially
Rui
Dinwiddie a little bit.
Hachimura,
Archimura,
he doesn't. He's not an outside shooter. Montrez Harrell, they tend to play him at center from time to time.
Right.
He likes inside also. He does most of his damage inside. And Davis Bertrand is usually a power forward.
Right.
So yeah, I hope not to have to worry about Mitchell Robinson guarding somebody at the 3-point line, at least in the next game. And maybe the game after that. I mean, I don't think the Hawks have a 3-point shooting center either.
No, they don't. Capella's a pick and roll guy.
Right.
And he runs the floor. He's a rim runner.
He's a rim runner.
So that's where Mitch has to be on his P's and Q's. He's got to be on his bicycle and run.
Absolutely. And I think he's a better rim runner than Noel. Nerlens Noel. So I would love to see him, I would love to see all of this that he did tonight carry over into the next 4 or 5 games. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Dream a while back, last week sometime, and he said, man, don't worry, man. The Knicks are going to go on a, 12-2 run. I'm like, really? You really believe that? He says, yeah, but
that's what happened.
Before COVID. That was before COVID hit the team. Okay? But there's a good possibility that they're going to be playing a number of games now in the next several weeks that are quite winnable. Well, quite winnable.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
because
I was saying that before Obi, before RJ, before Grimes, okay, and
Quigley.
now before Quigley, and now before Deuce. So here are 5 guys that I'm, in my own personal opinion, I would love to see getting some time and being on the court, and and now all of a sudden we don't have that available to us.
Right,
and those are the guys that were really pushing the Knicks, engine, to so to speak. The starters were just like going through the motions.
Inconsistent.
The second unit guys, they were bringing the energy.
Oh yeah.
So go ahead, G1.
No. I apologize for interrupting, H. I apologize. Just want to add some nuggets in there, and I'm just going to add some nuggets in there. And like you said, we have an easy schedule coming up. We got the Wizards, like you said, Santana. They start off hot, but they cool down a little bit. Then we got the Hawks without Trae Young. I don't think Trae's going to play in that game on Christmas Day. We haven't won a Christmas game period since 2011. We got to take care of that. Then we have a 4-game road trip. We got to go to OKC, winnable. Go to Detroit. We got Minnesota. Excuse me. That'll be a tough game because Minnesota's actually been decent.
They're playing good.
They're playing very well. They're down to Dallas right now, but they're playing good. They're a team that might make the playoffs. You got to go to OKC. You got to go to.
You got to go to the Pistons again.
Well, we got Detroit again. Winnable. OKC. Yes. Winnable. Toronto. That'll be a tough game because their team is trying to fight to make the playoffs. And then, and then we go back home against Indiana. So what I'm saying is that we got to take care at home. We got to. Against Washington, watch out for the guards, like I said. Watch out for Gafford, because Gafford can get offensive boards and put it back in. Same thing with Harrell. Be physical with them. And watch out for Bertans at the 3-point line, because Bertans can hit threes. Kuzma can hit threes. Go watch out for those guys. And do I think COVID Kemba has – whoops, C word. Do I think –
COVID Kemba.
Do I think – I don't want to get us in trouble. Do I think the C word – Kemba has played himself back into the rotation? I think so. I think so until the guys get back. The guys get back, I don't know. But Right now, if the guys stay out a little bit, maybe, I don't know, maybe. And with that, I'm gonna do a alley to my man Santana.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a great question that Simon Barr, aka Bill Stradamus Esquire, raises uh, regarding Kemba and the prospects of him playing himself back into the rotation. If anything, he's increased his trade value because you're gonna have a logjam at the point guard position. Once Derrick Rose comes back, once McBride comes back, and that Tibbs has his favorites. Rose is one of those guys, and McBride is played into the rotation because of his youthfulness, his defense. So it's going to be interesting. And again, the trading deadline is right around the corner. I think it's February 11th. So, yes, this protocol is giving him the opportunity to be able to showcase his skills, show his worth. But eventually, I hate to say it, but I see a trade coming. If he stays healthy and he's producing at this level, and those two other point guards come back healthy, there's going to be an odd man out. And in my opinion, I think what that's going to translate into is getting a defensive stop on this team. And again, I don't expect one guy to cure all the defensive issues that the Knicks have, but it's a start because we don't have a defensive stopper right now. We have flashes of guys that can play defense. Mitch Robinson is one, in terms of the defensive end of the floor, below the free throw line. McBride has the potential to be a defensive stopper, but it's tough as a point guard if you're going to be a defensive stopper and picking up guys full court. The last guy that did that and did it at a high level consistently was Gary Payton back in the day. That's how far back you got to go to look at a point guard that's going to be a defensive stopper from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. You do have other guys like Patrick Beverly that fit that bill, but Patrick Beverly doesn't play 38 minutes. He don't play over 30 minutes. But the minutes that he does play, he gives you good defense. So, the key is, I'm glad that Kemba is playing because it only increases his value, his trade value. But I do think he may play himself into the rotation right now. But remember, the closer we get to the trading deadline, the more likely it is that somebody's got to go. If not, they're going to sit. And that's when it's going to be interesting. What do you think about that, H2O?
Well, first of all, I don't really understand what was the reason for taking him out of the rotation in the first place.
The defense.
Again, he was giving me what he's capable of giving me, which is 15 points a game.
Yeah, but he was giving it up on the offense, on the defensive end. That's the reason why he was being taken out.
I understand. It's a rhetorical question. I'm not really looking for the answer or anything like that. It's in my head. I really, I didn't see him coming in here as a defensive stopper to begin with. So he was only giving me what he is capable of giving us, which is manage the point guard position and get me some points. So he wasn't brought in here because he was stopping anybody anywhere else, So to think that he was going to be the defensive stopper is to put
unfair, idiotic, disrespectful.
It's not what he is capable of doing. So you'll say that the last player to do so or was a player that was playing 38 minutes. We don't need anybody to play 38 minutes because the players that we were depending on to be that point guard position, neither one of them can play 38.
Right.
Kendall can't play 38 and or shouldn't be playing 38 because he's on bad knees. And he won't last the rest, to the All-Star break if he plays 38 minutes every game.
I
And
didn't say that about Kemba.
Rose breaks down too.
True,
So,
he's getting older.
yeah,
the
he's not
point.
going to play all 82 games either. So we need to have these secondary players to be ready to jump in there and man the position.
That's
And
the point.
those young guys, they may not need 38 minutes. So if you're only giving them 12 minutes, I'm pretty sure that they can do 12 minutes of full court pressure and handle the point guard position.
Okay,
That's
so
only
hold
my
on.
take. I don't know.
Let me clarify.
Go ahead, take it away, Santana.
Let me
It still
clarify
has to be
some of the
proven,
points here.
but it's just my point of view. How I think.
No, I hear you. Hey, everybody got an opinion. That's good. This is the thing.
So go ahead, Santana.
Obviously there was a disconnect between the front office and the coach. Okay, front office figured, okay, we're gonna get a Kemba. It's an offensive player. Tibbs is a defensive coach. Okay, so Tibbs, as a defensive coach, his expectation is to be able to play defense. But if the front office gives him an offensive player, that's where you got the clash. Okay. There's no match there. It's not a fit because you got a coach that doesn't like that style of player. That's just the way he is. So that's an issue between the front office and Tibbs. Okay, I don't disagree with you that Kemba is who he is as a player. I agree. I understand that. But the disconnect is between the front office and the coach because that's the problem. Okay, so that's what impacted his minutes. That clash. Number one. Number two, when I brought up the Gary Payton example, is because Gary Payton was the primary point guard in his Seattle Supersonic days, and he played the bulk of the minutes. The reason why I brought him up is because we don't have a lockdown defender. That's the reality. And if we were to expect McBride to do that, he wouldn't get close to those amount of minutes. So that's the reason why I use that example. Not expecting that McBride would play 38 minutes, not expecting that Rose is going to play 38 minutes or Walker is going to play 38 minutes. All I'm saying is the last time that you had a point guard that was a lockdown defender, you got to go back to Peyton. That's the point I'm making. That's what I'm saying. Because I'm not going to put that level of expectation on any one of these 3-point guards that we have. That's just, you combine their minutes, they're not going to combine into the output or the defensive outcomes that Gary Payton brought to the table. That's my point.
Go, Jimmy.
Go ahead, G-Money.
Yeah, he made some good points. And like what you said, H12, Kemba Walker has always been more of a mid-range shooter that creates his own shot. But this isn't Kemba of years past when he could boogie, oogie, jab, step, fade away, attack. That Kemba is gone. And, back to the whole front office, they just need to get another point. They just need to get another rim protector that could also stretch like a Miles Turner. Miles Turner would fit good with this team. He may not be a star, but Miles Turner would fit nice with this team. And not just thing. And that's what I think we need. We don't, personally for me, I don't think we need Ben Simmons. I don't buy into that. And also, we just need like I said, a rim protector, like a protector rim that can shoot the three like Miles Turner on the market. And maybe a small forward, like a Jeremy Grant, if healthy, or someone else there on the market, if we can. So That's what I think we can need, though. I wish we had Norman Powell. I honestly wish we had Norman Powell, but it is what it is. And that's what we need. And also, if we want to be successful, we just got to learn how to prevent these backdoor cuts and prevent the drive. If we can just learn to do that, be physical with your opponent. Don't be scared to get a call. That's just me. Be physical. Don't be scared to be physical. Play with defense, play with tenacity, scrap for loose balls. Last year's team did that every night. Scrap for loose balls, defense, hustle play. Last year's team showed a lot of that 48 minutes. This year, even though I'm happy we won tonight, we just need to do that for 48 minutes and to get guys involved. Share the ball. Get RJ some. When RJ comes back, if I were fifth, you might put him in the bench. Put RJ in the bench because he plays better with the second unit, in my opinion. That's why I think Fisher can put RJ in the bench and let him play with the second unit because he thrives in transition. I mean, I love RJ, but I'm just thinking Fisher should consider. Also, maybe put Alec Burks in the bench. I don't think Alec Burks is a starter. Burks is more of a bench player to me. He's not a point guard. Alec Burks is not a point guard. He's more of a shooting guard / small forward. He's not a point. So if I were Fifth, put him in the bench. All right. Put Quigley. It depends what team you're playing. It kind of depends on the team. So I'll probably shuffle my lineups a little bit. Kind of depends on the team you're playing. Don't overplay Derrick Rose. Don't overplay Kemba Walker. Because, like you said, H2L, they're getting old. This isn't prime Rose, MVP Rose. This isn't prime Kemba. All right. They're getting old. Make sure your lineups. Use them when they're playing well, but if you see they're getting tired, maybe use the other guys. Shuffle your line so they can have to be fresh by fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And the Julius Randle thing, I'm fine with Julius being a power forward. I'm fine with that. I don't think I have to do too much with that. I don't think Julius is a center. Do you guys think Julius Randle's a center type player? I think he's more of a power forward to me. And maybe I don't think Mitch is going to last long. I like Mitchell Robinson. I think he's gone. I like Mitchell Robinson. I think he's gone by deadline. I think he's getting traded. And also, if we want, here's a good trade package we can do to get Miles Turner. Maybe Mitch. You might have to consider Knox. You might have to consider Fournier I'm 50-50 on. And maybe a few, 1 or 2 picks or something like that. Don't trade too much, though, because I don't want to trade too much, though, to get Miles Turner, though. Because remember, the Pacers are rebuilding. Indiana's rebuilding. They're a fire sale. They're trying to rebuild. I don't see us getting Sabonis. That's not going to happen. So that's the thing, though, with me. And I just think that if New York wants to get better, we need to revamp our roster, get a center that not only can protect the rim, can also stretch the floor, and also who can hit free throws. I like Mitchell Robinson. Mitch had a good game today. But I said this about Mitch. Sometimes he can be a little bit, foul prone and his free throw shooting. Miles Turner can help with stretching the floor, can protect the rim, and he's a good, solid defender. I'm not saying he's an all-star. He's not, but I think he can help this team well. So that's what I think New York needs to do during the deadline. And if you're Phipps, just make the right rotations. Don't overplay guys. If you're Julius Randle, don't be fancy with the ball. Just play your style of play. Get guys. Here's what Randle should do. Get guys involved early. And then you can get your own shot. Then you can start to be aggressive. Because I don't want no ball hogging ISO ball. Randle played good and Randle played pretty well tonight. But that's just the thing with me. If you're RJ Barrett, attack the basket, maybe use more mid-range. But there's gonna be games in which you had to hit mid-range shots if you're RJ Barrett. RJ is a good young player. I just want him to improve a little bit more and just be more consistent defensively. And that's the thing I think we need to do. The point guard thing is like the only point guard, if we were to trade for one, I would like either DeJounte Murray or De'Aaron Fox. That's the only point guards I think we could trade for if that were to happen. And with that, I'm going to do a bounce pass my man H2O.
Yeah, thank you. Another thing I was listening to and that came across my screen is this kid that is playing in the G League, this Croatian kid. 7'10", Luka
Samanic.
Samanic,
7'10"?
6'10". Sorry.
Right.
He was with the Spurs G affiliate last year, I think it was. He might have even came out at the same time with the RJ and them boys. Or maybe he came out in the OB. Yeah, no, it wasn't RJ because they were talking about um, RJ at the time that he was. So anyway, this kid here, he seems to be a pretty big guy, a stretch four. Somebody that can open up the middle, which is what's missing with them because all of our players who want to be slashers, they get stopped at the rim because the other team's bigs are usually down there, they don't have to come out of the lane, basically.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, I was this kid named Luke Cornett.
Luke Cornett, yeah, Luke Cornett. He used to play with the Knicks, then he went to the Bulls, and then
he was with us. He was with us at the same time that this kid that they just brought up. What's his name? Number 21.
Damian Dotson.
He was there with them. Okay, and I don't know. He didn't embarrass himself, man. He could shoot it. He looked like
he could stroke it.
So if we're looking for a stretch four, being that you mentioned the kid out of from Indiana, there go some options too. Because my problem is I don't want to have to give up my future.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Though I don't want to give up too much.
Player. Right. Well, he ain't never going to be an all-star.
True.
Okay. While my young guys, the ceiling is still, not yet been defined.
True.
For this guy from Indiana, the ceiling is defined. He's not
average player,
better than what he is right now. I think that's it's all about different perspectives, and that's how I see him because it's not like he got better this year than he was last year, and he didn't get better last year than he was the year before that. He's been the same average good player. No,
you're referring to Turner?
Miles Turner, yeah.
Miles Turner. He's not going to be ever. I don't know. I don't see him as an all-star.
No, I agree with that. He's more of an average center. That's what he is.
He's an average guy, journeyman. I mean, not even a journeyman because he's been with Indiana or forever. But he's as good as he's going to get.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to give up on Obi Toppin for Miles Turner.
I agree with
that. So if we have to package some of these young guys so we can get him, I don't see where that improves me in the future. It's an immediate thing. And sometimes, the Knicks, we can get caught up in trying to fix the now problem and forfeit the future. Okay? And I don't want to go back to that kind of thinking. We did that with Spencer Haywood. We did that with Carmelo Anthony. Great players, they saviors. Like oh, here he is. We're gonna we did that with who Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, we keep on bringing guys that we think are gonna take us over the top, and it's not like that, man. We need to take it easy and let this thing develop organically. Mm-hmm. Let's give these guys at least a year. I want to make the playoffs, of course, but I don't think this team is ready to win the championship this year anyway.
Okay, time facts, yeah.
We're not going there this year, even if we get Miles Turner.
That's a good point.
Get out of the first round.
Depending on matchup, yeah.
Right. So no, absolutely. Let's keep our boys. You wanna send Kemba out? I think that's somebody has to be sacrificed.
Pretty much, yes.
Kemba is just doing, his last, his farewell tour, and he'd like to, trade Mitch for Turner. That's the thought. Okay. Um, Again, Mitch's ceiling hasn't been defined, and Turner is basically who he's going to be. But Mitch, you're talking about a 3-year player when Turner is at least what 6, 7 years already in the league.
Let me check. Hang on, let me check. I know he was in the league in 2016. I know that. So hang on.
Yeah, so that makes him at least what? At least
2,
4
3,
years,
4,
5
5, 6,
years.
7 years now. 7.
It's 7 years in the league. You know, so let's continue to hope that this coach will allow himself to expand his horizon, to stop limiting himself to these 8 players that he's going to burn out. Because if he thinks that Kemba Walker and Rose and Taj are going to win him a chip, that's not going to happen.
It's crazy. I mean, I love Fibs, but like you say, H2L, before I apologize for interrupting. I apologize. If Fibs thinks that Kemba Walker and Derrick Rose is going to win the chip, then to me, his opinion is not valid. If you think that, it's not reasonable. It's not respectful to me because, again, Kemba and Rose are good players. They're good. However, like I said, they're older. This isn't them. This isn't Kemba back in 2019. This isn't Rose back in 2012. So yeah, I apologize, Israel.
No. I'm just saying salute to Delano Steele.
The man of steel.
Huh?
The man of steel.
The man of steel. Sorry. Yeah, I don't want to take away your title, sir.
Yeah. No, that's his title. But listen, let me chime in here a little bit. In terms of Ben Simmons, I would make a trade for Ben Simmons. I think he has the skill set to help this team in a lot of different ways. He gives them size, he gives them defense, he gives them ball handling, he gives them, youth. The only question mark is, his mental approach, and is he gonna get upset and then want to sit down and not play and so forth and so on. So that's the only question. But I think I would try to get a Ben Simmons. I think he's on the cusp of going to a whole nother level. And yeah, I know his shooting is suspect, but that's something that he can develop through the course of time. And he's been in the league only a few years. So if there's somebody that has a big ceiling, that guy has a big ceiling.
I mean, you made some. I apologize for
Wait,
interrupting.
no. Let me finish this. I gotta finish this thought.
Okay.
I gotta finish. I listen to you guys, man, but let me finish this, man. The thing is this, with Ben Simmons, I'm gonna give you a couple of examples. Okay, him handling the ball at his size, he's gonna give people the rock. The key is you gotta have good shooters around him to make him less reliant on perimeter shot to contribute to a team. Because when he goes to the basket, ain't nobody stopping him to the basket.
True.
So if the defense is sagging because you got no shooters, then of course it's going to be harder for him to penetrate. But if the defense is playing with him one-on-one and they got to extend out to defend shooters, man, he's going to have a field day going to the basket. So that's something to think about. The other thing to think about, okay, some people say, okay, well, his shooting is suspect, and because of that, I wouldn't get him. Okay, so if you look at what's his name, Draymond Green from Golden State, his shooting is suspect. His free throw shooting as well is suspect. But he does all the other intangible things. Now, obviously, he's proven himself, and he's got many more years in the league, and he's more of a leader, more of an extrovert than Simmons is. But Simmons does have that potential. He's young still, 7 feet, running point, and handling the rock. That's a guy that I would definitely consider. And if that means, giving up a Mitch Robinson to get him, hey, I would do it. I would do it. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I look at it. But that's my take. Go ahead, G Money. Go ahead. Right.
I don't. I love your Santana, but I can't. No, I can't take this. I'm not disrespecting you as a
That's
person. I'm
fine.
not.
Hey,
I'm not disrespecting you as a person. It's just the opinion is
no,
no.
no, it's no disrespect.
Again, I like Ben Simmons. Okay, he can pass and rebound, but here's what we have to consider: we keep going by if. You can't always go by if. Sometimes you gotta look at factual reality. He had some shooters in Philly. Redick, Butler's not a shooter, but he can hit threes. Harris, he can hit threes, and B can hit threes. He had some good shooting around. He had Dario Saric who could stretch the floor, and the Sixers didn't go far. Again, I'm not saying Ben is trash. He's not. But we have to consider this too, okay? The games are going to be close by fourth quarter. Teams can foul him down the stretch. Yes, he's young, but not every player develops all that great. Not every player is like that sometimes. We keep saying, oh, he's young, he's young, he's young. But when you're in your fourth year, I expect you to be a little bit better sometimes. I'm not expecting him to be a superstar, but he got a little bit better. Because there's been players today that's gotten better. That's what I'm trying to say. And what we have to consider the fact that even if we get shooters, are these shooters going to hit shots in the playoffs? We have to think about that, though. And what helps my argument is this. Teams are going to foul him. I don't trust him hitting free throws in the fourth quarter. I don't trust it. And teams are going to clog the paint on Ben. At some point, you need to shoot the ball. It's easy to say, oh, he's going to develop. Those are just words. But the eye test tells me he hasn't. Don't tell me, yeah, he dropped 40 on the Jazz, but it doesn't matter, Bodega. That doesn't mean anything. So they didn't. So what? That's great. And to me, comparing Ben Simmons to Draymond Green doesn't make sense to me. Draymond at least can stretch the floor a little bit. I'm not saying he's Steph, but he can stretch the floor a little bit. He can attack and knows that he's decent at the line. Though this is the same Draymond Green that almost won a Finals MVP back in 2016. People forget about that.
Finals MVP?
Almost won in 2016. He almost won it. Did you watch that series against the Cavs in 2016? We got it. I don't think Ben, because look, Ben's a good player, but you have to consider this. Teams are going to clog the paint in the playoffs, and teams can foul him in the fourth quarter. That matters a lot. No matter what you say, but the fact of the matter is he had an opportunity to help the Sixers go far in the playoffs and couldn't do it. It's nice to defend, rebound, and pass. That's great. But if we want to win a championship, we need a point guard that can shoot. Look at Drew Holiday last year. Not only was he good defensively and can pass, he can stretch the floor. You need a point guard that can shoot, not just, oh, we get shooters around, he'll do this. You can think if, but the fact of the matter is that what happens if those shooters don't hit shots in the playoffs? Not even going to hit shots in the playoffs. Julius Randle's good, but he's going to get tired in the fourth quarter. You need a guy that can stretch the floor. If we had a Malcolm Brogdon could defend. He can pass too. He may not be athletic like Ben, but Brogdon will help us shoot. De'Aaron Fox, athletic, can pass, can attack. He can shoot. John Wall, I'm 50-50 on John Wall. But if you talk about a healthy John Wall, a healthy one.
That's another if. You're talking about if, that's an if. Hold on. Now, in terms of Simmons, okay, I'm going to draw another parallel for you. When Jason Kidd got into the league, he couldn't shoot a lick. All right. It took him years to develop his perimeter game. Simmons is 24 years old. He's still got time left. And who knows? Who knows if he's practicing his perimeter shooting right now? We don't know. We haven't seen him. However, and again, I could use the word facts. I could use the words if or whatever the case may be. It doesn't make it accurate. No different than what you're saying, G Money. So, you can hold on to your words, but that's okay. We could agree to disagree.
No, we can agree to disagree. That's totally fine.
That's fine.
No, you can keep your opinion. I'm not trying to change it.
So here it is.
To look at reality too, but not to interrupt you.
Hold on, G. Because hold on. So the bottom line is, and fine. Look, you don't like Simmons. It's okay. You don't have to like him. I do. I do see the potential in him. I have the eye test too. I've coached before as well. I've had more experience, so I have an eye test too. You have an eye test, and you're entitled to it, and it's all good. Bottom line is, I do see upside for him. I do see an opportunity for growth. In the examples that I'm giving, the Jason Kidd is an example. The Lonzo Ball is an example. You see guys that come into the league, they're not, good coming out in terms of shooting from the perimeter, and they develop their games. The only question mark that I really have regarding Sims, does he have the mental makeup or fortitude to be able to go out there and play the game and not get frustrated and not give up? That's what I question. But hey, look, it's all good, man. I understand you don't like him, and that's fine. I know you like Chris Paul. I know you like Miles Turner, and that's good. I'm not gonna knock you for liking him, but at the same time, when you look at Ben Simmons, you may not see the value in him because he's not where Chris Paul is at. But we're not gonna get Chris Paul.
I never said we were.
I know, but you've used that example of, well, if we would have got a Chris Paul,
I said Brogdon, I said Malcolm Brogdon.
No, but you used Chris Paul too in the past.
Good
so
point.
I'm just saying, the reality is, who is out there that we can get that's attainable, and that's one possibility. That's all I'm saying. But go ahead, continue to rock. Go ahead, brother.
I mean, I love you saying 10, but the whole Jason Kidd thing, no. You can't compare him
No,
to Jason Kidd.
It's true.
No, Jason Kidd.
That's fact.
Jason Kidd still had a decent jump shot. He was not great,
No.
but decent.
No.
You can't compare him to a Hall of Fame. Let's not do that. We keep saying, oh, Ben's only 24 years old. What does that mean? Nothing. Doesn't mean nothing. Yeah, he's 24, but like I said, how many more times would he keep waiting for players to improve? I'm not saying he's trash. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm sorry. I don't believe in Ben Simmons like that. I don't. I'm sorry. And you made my point. And you made my point too with him being frustrated. Why do I want a point guard that's going to be sensitive, especially with Thibs? Do we think about this for a moment? Ben Simmons was sensitive.
He's the type of player Thibs likes. He plays defense.
Okay, but that's great. But what happens if Ben Simmons say Thibs yelling at him? Ben's gonna be upset. We keep saying, oh, he's young, wait and see. Personally, for me, what is there to keep waiting and seeing about? Like, again, I'm not saying Ben is trash. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I don't think he's the point guard we need. There's other point guards that could do certain things Ben could do, but can also stretch the floor. Because it's not a guarantee the shooters are going to get good hit shots in the playoffs. It's not a guarantee. So that's what I'm saying is that you need a point guard that can stretch the floor today. Look at even the Bucks. Drew Holiday can shoot. I'm not saying he was Steph, but he can stretch the floor. That took the pressure off Giannis and Chris Middleton at times.
He's a shooting guard.
He can also play the point too.
He's a shooting guard.
He's a shooting guard, but he also can play the point.
He's not a point guard. He's a shooting guard.
No, Drew Holiday can play the point too. I watched the Bucks last year. He can play the point too.
He can play the point. He's not the point. He's not your primary point guard. He's a shooting guard.
H-Joel, you're muted. H-Joel, you're muted. But to me, compared to Jason Kidd, no.
At with the Bucks.
Drew Holiday is the point, though. It was Drew Holiday. Especially when David Chandler was out. It was Drew Holiday.
Yes.
Like I said, I'd rather have Drew Holiday in the Knicks than Ben Simmons because Drew
That's
can
not going to happen. Get somebody who's realistic.
I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying that
you're making an argument for people that we're not going to get.
Brogdon can still very well happen. Fox can still very happen. Heck, DeJounte Murray. I would like DeJounte Murray. He can pass. He's athletic. He has not a great but decent enough jump shot. He's an all right free throw shooter. DeJounte Murray is someone we can get. I'm not getting emotional. This narrative that, oh, let's get Ben Simmons. No, we don't need no Ben Simmons. I'm sorry. If you want Ben Simmons, you can have him. I'm not getting a dude that could just pass and rebound, but when the games are close in the fourth quarter, teams will clog the paint. They will double Randall, double RJ, and then Ben's going to miss free throws, and they'll keep making his excuse. He's young. But there's players out there who've been young but improving. It's easy to say, oh, Lonzo improved, but Lonzo started all right, not great, but he can still stretch the floor a little bit. Ben Simmons is like, he's been at least since 2018. When's he going to learn to stretch the floor? I don't care what he's doing in practice. I got to see it on the court, though. Because it's good. Look at last year. Do you know how many times Embiid was tired last year? This is my point. I'm not saying so Ben Simmons, but I just don't think Ben Simmons is the answer. Because today's game, you're going to need a point guard that can stretch the floor. I'm not saying they have to be Steph. I'm not saying they have to be even Drazen Petrovic, rest his soul. That's not what I'm saying. But at least get a mid-range. Because, yeah, he can improve, but will he improve? I don't know. I'm sorry. To me, Ben Simmons will fit nice on, a team like the Warriors. He would fit nice on a team like the Kings or the Spurs. I don't think he can fit on the Knicks. I'm sorry. I really don't. I'm not getting emotional. I just don't buy into the Ben Simmons type. I'm sorry. I just don't. I'm not.
All right, let me give you some stats. Okay.
Are you looking up them stats? Let me tell you this.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Ben Simmons on the Knicks would be, in my opinion, almost revolutionary. That dude, if he had a jump shot, he would be just as good as players like LeBron. He doesn't have a jump shot. He's 5 years old. His team threw him under the bus. So a new surrounding, a new situation would probably galvanize him. He would probably work with the shooters that the Knicks work with, as opposed to whoever he was working with on the Sixers. I think that he is has mentally been through so much that he would have no choice but to fall in line and do certain things that's going to make his game better. They say that over there in Philly, that he wasn't really, he had them videos up, every other summer showing him shooting, but he wasn't really in the gym like that. If he goes to another team, especially if he came to New York, he would have no choice but to try to adapt a different mentality as far as making his game better. I think that would, and I would give up, like Coach said, I would give up Mitch Robinson for him easily. I would do that in a second. Like I was saying earlier, I would give up Mitch Robinson for Evan Turner in a second. The stuff that you're saying about Ben Simmons, we can say the same thing about Mitch. Mitch is in his 4th season. We're still talking about potential. And Mitch, he's on the floor too much, as Santana said earlier. Every time he goes up, he's on the floor. So I think that's something within his, I don't know what, but he's always on the floor. He go for a rebound. He goes for a shot, and someone will foul him on the arm, and he ends up on the floor. He has footing problems, or seemingly he has footing problems. The way he sets up for rebounds now, and we see it now since he put on this weight. See, he was able to do those things with pure athleticism, but once he starts getting injured, then he had to put on the weight. Now he's not adjusted to this new weight yet. He hasn't. And so if we had to give up him, and I give them 2 number ones or whatever. See, but the thing is, Philly wants too much for him. They want Obi and Quickly and all that. I wouldn't do that. I don't want to do that for him. But if we can get him for somebody like Mitch and maybe Mitch, Kemba, and maybe 2 or 3 first rounds, I'd be all in for that. I would be all in for that.
So let me just throw some stats. Let me throw some stats, fellas, okay? Just so put it in context, okay? Right now, Ben Simmons, based on his sample size of 1, 2, 3, 4 years so far, his numbers are he averages 14.3 points a game. He has 7.2 rebounds per game, and his assist is 6.9 per game. When you look at Jason Kidd's numbers in his first 4 years, okay, they're comparable to what Ben Simmons is producing right now. So, comparing them, yeah, okay, you could say, well, yeah, I'm comparing a Hall of Famer to a guy that only been in the league for 4 years. I'm comparing that 4-year period when they first got to the league and how folks developed. And Jason Kidd was not a good shooter. If you go back and look at the stats, you're going to see exactly what I'm saying. But that's okay. It's not emotional. These are the facts. Don't believe me. Go and compare the numbers, and then we can revisit the conversation. I ain't got a problem with it.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but not everyone's gonna be a Jason Kidd. That's what I'm trying to say. And also,
Hey, I'm comparing the first 4 years.
Yeah, I know
and
that.
the
I
time
know
it took
that.
for Jason Kidd to develop his jump shot.
I understand that. I get
So,
that, but I don't think
those
it's
are
gonna happen to
facts.
Ben.
That's not an opinion. That's a fact.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think it's gonna happen to Ben. I don't think
Okay,
that's a mental drive.
we'll see. Only
I
time
don't think
will tell.
it's easy
Only
to say
time will
we'll
tell.
see, but we'll see what? What's there for me to wait and see about? Sometimes for me, the whole we will see thing to me is kind of pointless because I keep saying,
okay. So listen to this. Okay, you if you're gonna make a comparison with any player, make it consistent with where they were in that time period of that respective player's career. Every player is gonna go through a development phase. Not every player is gonna come out like LeBron, like Michael Jordan, and start off at a high level. That doesn't happen all the time. Most of the players in the league, they take time to develop. So yeah, you do have to wait and see.
that's
Whether you
you,
want
but
to
for
or
me,
not,
no.
you do have to wait and see. You have to. You have no choice. That's just
mean,
the progression of most players in the league. Not every player comes in banging. I'm just giving it to you real.
I mean,
That's all.
that's fine. I never said he had to be LeBron or MJ. That's not what I'm saying.
No, but you're saying you're tired of hearing we'll see. Well, the reality is most players in the NBAs have to develop. Not every player comes in, controlling the stat line across the board. That's not realistic. That's not what really happens. Your superstars do that, but not every single player.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can think that, but like I said, you can believe what you want to believe.
But I'm giving you facts, brother. It's not think.
No, how am I moving the goalposts? I'm not moving the goalposts, but I'm not moving the goalposts. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't think Ben will work in New York because the facts I'm saying is teams will clog the paint. There's going to be times in which our shooters won't hit shots, and teams will foul him. And I don't know if I can trust him in free throws. Okay. It's easy to say he'll develop. Those are just words, but I haven't seen it yet. It's easy to say wait and see.
There's still time. There's still time to develop. He's only in his 4th year. Jason Kidd, look at the numbers. Let's not even have the discussion. Look at the numbers, and then we can have the conversation. The numbers are going to bear out that Jason Kidd, when he came into the league, he wasn't producing what you're expecting. It took time for him to develop that. So
Jason Kidd was mentally tough. That's nothing that helps my point. Jason Kidd was mentally tough. I don't see it with Ben Simmons. I'm sorry. No matter what you say, you're not going to force me to like Ben Simmons.
You got it.
I don't hate him.
You don't have to hate him.
I don't hate him, but no matter what you say, it's not going to force me to think.
I'm not trying to force you to think anything.
I'm sorry.
I'm not trying to force you to. I'm just giving you facts. Go ahead, H2O.
What do you have the numbers on Jason Kidd?
Yeah.
What were they?
I put it up on the league. I put it up.
Okay. And Jason Kidd was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Look at his numbers.
From the beginning. It wasn't like it took him 4 years to show what he was.
Mm-hmm.
He was like that from day one.
Look at his numbers. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers.
What I'm saying, when
that's also the 90s.
Close my eyes
back in the 90s
and think of Jason Kidd, and I see a pretty awesome ball player on the court from day one. Okay, and from that point, he developed into an even better player. Okay.
He had the mental fortitude. Ben doesn't have that. And now it's the 90s. The 90s
and that is one of the knocks that I think that we discussed.
Look at the numbers, fellas.
Again, 90s. He's going to
look at the numbers, fellas.
Where's the context?
Look at the numbers. The context.
I don't care. That's the 90s. Of course, you're
look at the numbers.
I don't care. That's the 90s. The 90s
listen,
means something.
The era is the era.
To now.
the error is the error. We can't compare errors. Errors are error. There's a different style of play in one error versus the other. We're looking at the numbers. The numbers are comparable. Look at the numbers.
So in
And
other
I mean, look at
words,
the context.
Look
behind
at the
numbers.
numbers.
That's what I
Okay,
do.
let me
I
let
don't
me
just
add
use
to that
stats. I use
conversation
context
if you
too.
guys want, or else I can go home.
No,
go
I'm
ahead,
not disrespecting
Go ahead,
Santana. I'm
H2O.
not.
Go ahead, H2O.
I mean, if you're gonna talk about Jason wasn't a one and done either. He didn't join the NBA at 19. I guess you're speaking about that this is Ben Simmons situation, that he's I think he played in Australia, no? For a minute. Yeah. Okay. What I'm saying is that if you're talking about errors, back in the day, there was a lot more hand checking allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So you have
numbers still are the numbers.
I don't care about the numbers.
14 points. Let me finish. You got to be a lot stronger to get your 14 points, and you're gonna get a couple of hits when you're driving down the lane. So if he wasn't that good of a shooter, he must have been going to the line a lot, and he must have been going down the lane a lot.
He was good at free throws too.
He was also a good assist man. So I'm giving Jason Kidd better, I'm giving him the benefit of the era.
Thank you.
Right
Errors
now,
matter a lot.
you can't touch nobody, otherwise it's a foul. And Ben Simmons is 6'10" point guard, 6'8", 6'9",
6'11".
Oh,
That's 11, yeah.
6'11". Oh shit. Anyway, so he's 6'11". Jason Kidd was barely 5'11", or was he 6'2", 6'3"? Okay, so yes, Jason Kidd was much better player at his time. If you have the same numbers, then Jason Kidd was a better player.
And you gotta use eye test why he had the numbers. I don't care about look at the numbers. I don't care because you know why? Let's look at the era. Your numbers are gonna be like that.
Losing that argument, brother.
I'm not. I'm winning the argument by a mile.
You're losing the argument.
I'm winning the argument.
You're dismissing numbers. You're dismissing numbers.
It's like where's the context?
The numbers are not enough.
The numbers, I don't care. There's no context. It's empty. It's empty sometimes.
You can't dismiss the numbers. The numbers
I'll give you
calories.
Empty calories. I'll give you an example.
Yo, Prodigy.
Mr. Bill.
Yo, Prodigy. Listen, you have to consider those numbers. I'm gonna tell you why. When Jason Kidd, he was a rookie of the year with Grant Hill, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, yes.
Did Ben Simmons win the rookie of the year his year?
No.
First year. No, yeah, he did. He won over Donovan Mitchell.
Did. He won rookie of the year. Also, Ben Simmons, how many times has he been an all-star? What, 2 or 3 times?
I mean, yeah, but what does that
doesn't mean anything?
I mean,
and he was a much better defender than Jason Kidd. Much better defender. I'm telling you, he was a much better defender than Jason Kidd.
50. I can't say
so
that
you have to consider all of that.
I mean, that's you, but I don't get. I'll give you an example, right?
And how good was Dallas in those first 4 years that Jason Kidd played?
Where this is, I don't want to put in that. That's the 90s, okay? When you're in the 90s, like what Aisha said,
you wasn't even born, G Money, in the 90s.
But I didn't born. But I watched highlights and full
Money,
games.
We watched the 90s, man.
But this is when context matters. Numbers are numbers.
Our eyes don't matter. Our eyes don't matter. Come on, G.
But here's what I'm trying to say, man. You keep giving me, Ben Simmons, great defender. So is Jason Kidd. Let the NBA
listen, G Money. We know you don't like Ben. No matter what we say, you're not gonna like Ben. We get it. So go ahead, H2O. Give your take on it.
Okay, my final take is that I'm not going to give up on anything that Philadelphia wants for Ben Simmons.
Same here.
End of story.
Me too.
I'm not giving him 3 first-round picks. I'm not giving him Obi Toppin. I'm not giving him Emmanuel Quickly. I'm not giving them all of that because I need those guys with Ben Simmons in order to win. And without Ben Simmons isn't gonna give me what I get from all of that. And to trade Ben Simmons for Mitch. I mean, what am I going to have in the middle then?
Nothing.
Who are we going to have in the middle?
What are you talking
Oh, he
about?
can pay for rebound, and then he'll miss free
Really?
throws.
You can't replace Mitch? Hell yeah, you can replace
With
Mitch.
who?
Miles
In the
Turner.
same
Listen,
trade.
you'll get other
Turner.
players. You get
Oh,
other
no.
players. Right
Give
now,
me-
you got Simmons that you say you would
Miles
play
Turner.
over him. You said that H2O. Excuse me, G Money. H2O. You said this. All right.
What's that?
You said that you would play Simmons more than you would play a Mitch Robinson.
When did I say that, bro?
Oh, now you don't remember.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Oh, really?
I don't even want. I wouldn't switch. I wouldn't switch a
Oh,
for
man.
center.
We're getting amnesia now. Okay.
Yeah, well,
all
I
right,
got
all right.
amnesia, sir.
All right, H2O.
I'll take
you got it.
amnesia. I'll go take my pill right now.
And also,
So-
Magic Johnson.
so
H2O.
Ben can
H2O.
I wouldn't even
You
trade Mitch
you
for
feel
Ben
that-
Simmons.
You don't. Okay, so you feel that the way we're currently constructed, as opposed to if we gave up Mitch, Kemba, if they would accept Mitch, Kemba, and I don't care how many two number ones, if we can get Ben for that, I would do that in a minute because we would be a better team than we are currently. No doubt we would be a better team than we are currently. And as far as who we play who we got. If we got Nerlens Noel and Sims right now is almost as good as Mitch.
NBA
Whether you guys
body.
want to believe it or not.
That's what H2O said. NBA body. No, he doesn't remember. You got it.
Sims right now is a very good Sims is going to be our center for the future, in my opinion. He's going to be the center of the future. So,
Ben Simmons.
Sims.
Ben Simmons.
Right, baby. Ben.
So if we have to give up Mitch and Kemba to get Ben Simmons, I think Ben Simmons is better than Mitch and Kemba for the Knicks right now.
Who you gonna play as center again?
We start Noel like
Did
like
you talk
Tibbs.
about Cornell also in the G League? He was a center. He could shoot from the 3-point line. You talked about a Croatian guy, 6'10", in the G League that you could bring up right now. You could. It's easy to replace a Mitch Robinson. It's easy to replace a guy like him.
True.
Well, I don't know. The guy that I saw tonight was pretty good.
Oh yeah, against Detroit, they had nobody to stop him down low.
Let's see.
Not even
That's why
Stewart.
we get Miles Turner.
You got a Miles Turner, option there. But Mitch Robinson is an easy guy to replace. That's a fact.
Well, everybody's entitled to their own facts.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And
Their
I'm
own
not
opinions,
Stephen
all right.
A. opinions.
I
Can we
like
move
the
on the whole
numbers,
baby
too.
Ben thing? I'm tired of talking about Ben Simmons. I'm sorry. Can we move on, please? Can we
Yeah,
move on? I'm not getting the
Ben
dude
Simmons
that
show.
can't shoot free throws. I don't care about he let Obi and Randall play together. That's great. However, Obi's barely gonna play in the fourth. Randall will get doubled in the playoffs. There's gonna be times which our shooters won't hit shots, and then Ben will miss free throws. But at this point, I'm tired of the whole Ben Simmons talk. I don't believe Ben's gonna be that much better. I don't want to hear the Jason Kidd comparisons. I want to move on. Can you move on, please?
Yeah.
Please.
Well, Wi-Fi says Ben Simmons can play center.
That's great. And you need Cynic and Stretcher for it too. That's great. But who cares?
But are you kidding with us or are you serious?
What?
I wonder whether he's serious or just kidding.
Because Brook Lopez stretched the floor too. Do we think of that? And Bobby Portis plays center. He can shoot the ball too. Don't bring the Warriors up because the Warriors have Steph and Clay. Don't bring the Warriors up. So you lose the argument there. We're not the Warriors. So again, I'm tired of the Ben Simmons side because he keeps saying, he can play center. But what does that mean? You still need a center that can shoot. What does that mean?
Who brought up the Warriors? I don't get it.
No, my point I'm saying is that what I'm trying to say is that I don't think Ben will make us that much better of a team. That's what I
know what you think, G Money.
So
you're gonna say it until you turn blue. We get it. And we're giving you the reasons why we believe he would be a good fit. That's all. We're mirroring each other on the opposite side of the spectrum. That's what we're doing. You're saying every reason why it wouldn't work, and we're telling you every reason why it would. It's a standoff. Nobody's winning this argument. It is what it is. So, yeah, if we want to move on, we can move on. So move on. Bring up a different subject.
All right. So what do you think we need to do against the Wizards?
The Wizards, listen, hey, you gotta play good transition defense. Gotta play transition because all these teams are gonna want to run. They're gonna want to run against us, and that's that's the direction that the NBA is going right now. That everybody likes to run and shoot threes, and they got some players. They got some players that we got to contend with. So we have to slow the ball, slow the pace down, and then go out there and execute our offense. And do it methodically. We don't have to run and gun. We have to play solid D, and we'll be all right. But we'll see. We'll see. But go ahead. Good H2O and Mr. Bill. Answer the question. Go ahead.
Answer which question?
Well,
the question that G-Money raised about the Wizard. What do we think the Knicks
who can pass and defend? Exactly. And that's and the thing is, we also have to consider who's coaching the team.
Right.
So you don't think I think Tibbs would love. Well, I don't want to go back there, but I think Tibbs would. No, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to go back. But let's see if you think Mitchell is going to have this type of game against the Wizards?
I still have a so-so game.
Listen, we can only hope.
Why not? Why is a so-so game as opposed to a game? You know why?
Mitch can be streaky sometimes, and also.
And he's playing better competition. He's playing against better bigs over there in Washington than he played tonight.
Right.
Who they got?
Alex Len
and Montrell.
Harrell.
That's all.
The what's his name? Hachimura.
Hachimura, yes.
He's not going to have the same game. I hope he does, but I don't think he is.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm rooting for the guys in the orange and blue. So every game that I walk into, I get on the court, I'm rooting for my man to do well.
Same here.
Whether it's Mitchell, whether it's Noel, whether it's Grimes, whether it's Kemba, I'm rooting for them to have the same game. I'm rooting right now. I'm rooting for Evan Fournier to continue hitting 25 points a game, like he's been averaging in the last 4 games. I'm not saying because he's gotten lost in a couple of games in the past too, but I'm rooting for him to get that same effort in that same game again, and that's all I can do as a Knicks fan. I can't.
We all want the same. We all want the same things, H2O. H2O, we all want that for the Knicks. We want to win every game, but if we're talking long term and we all agree that they're gonna have to make some type of move, I gotta agree. I gotta go with Coach wholeheartedly. And I'm kind of surprised because I thought that I still think that with G Money, we saw him. He saw highlights. So I think that's our age and the length of time that we've been watching ball is just something that, we're not going to convince him, and he's definitely not going to convince us.
Okay.
But you, H2O,
oh no,
you're slightly older than both of us.
And Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was an excellent point guard.
We're not disputing that. But
we're not disputing that.
The numbers are comparable.
You don't think that the Knicks would be better with Ben Simmons?
I'm not. No, right now, I'm not giving him up to put a hole in my head.
No, we don't want it either. But what I propose,
I'm going to give you 3 first-rounders. I'm going to give you all my rookies. I'm going to give you Mitchell Robinson, and I'm going to get 1 player. He's not that great.
Well, they would have to throw in probably another player for salary reasons and all of that. But I'm saying that this is what I'm saying. If we have Ben Simmons, the 2 first-rounders that we give up for him will be late-round picks, I believe, wholeheartedly. they would be late round picks because I think he would make us that much better. And it starts with the Knicks. It starts with the defense. And he would come on the team automatically as the best defender on the Knicks, and he can run the show a little bit and he could take the ball out of Julius Randle's hands. Julius Randle can sit in the post and take advantage of certain mismatches, depending on who he's playing. Or he could pull the 4-man out to the 3-point line, where he's shown that he has a good three ball game. However, I think we have more options in that regard. Mitch, G Money was talking all of the stuff about Ben Simmons. This is Mitch's 4th season. This is Mitch's 4th season, and we still talking about ifs and maybes and ifs. Way more so than Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons' first 4 years was much better than Mitch Robinson's first 4 years. You have to admit that.
Okay.
So if we have to give up him, and you don't want to give up more than 2 first rounders, I think those first
rounders, man.
Huh?
Second rounders. You said we're going to give us some second rounders.
No, I said first rounders. I said I'd give up 2 first rounders, Mitch, Kemba for Ben and whoever else has to come with him.
Okay.
Because then we'd have a better all-around team. And then in that 5 spot, listen, Mitch is not better than Nerlens Noel.
Oh, come on, man.
He's not. He's really not.
The little sample that I seen Mitch at his best and Noel at his best, Mitch is better.
Well,
when I seen Mitch at his best and Noel at his best, Mitch's best is better than Noel's best.
I can, which I won't do. I could probably pull up some stats where Noel had some awesome games, wherever else he was, and he's had some good games on the Knicks. He has better footing. He's a better shot blocker than Mitch. What he's not as good as Mitch is, catching lobs and finishing.
Who's Noah?
Yannick.
Oh, he's saying both fragile.
But all I will say, and I know the argument is what it is, but listen, if you compare the numbers, y'all don't have to do this now. Do this on your own time. Y'all compare those numbers with Jason Kidd and Ben Simmons at the same stage in their respective careers. The numbers are comparable.
Okay.
I know they are. Definitely.
And that's why I put it on screen, because that's context. That's not fact. That's not theory. That's not opinion. Those numbers don't lie. You want to call them empty stats? The numbers are the numbers.
No, but remember, we do have that.
No. But
I haven't finished my thought.
Okay, go ahead.
We have had this conversation that even in our own team players, where they're putting up great numbers, but it doesn't amount to winning. So we call those empty calories, right?
No, but when I'm talking about Ben Simmons and Jason Kidd, and I'm comparing their first 4 years, those numbers are very comparable.
Okay.
Extremely comparable. And so much so, if you want to skew it, if you want the skew on it, the skew is Ben won more games than Jason did his first 4 years. That's factual.
Okay.
And he had the numbers. And both of them couldn't shoot.
So you're saying that if we continue to again, there goes that big word. If you continue to carry Ben Simmons' career, he'll probably surpass or be equal to a Jason Kidd. Is that what you're trying to say? What is the argument that you're trying to make about Ben Simmons and Jason Kidd?
All right,
so comparing them, but for what reason? To show that Ben Simmons will be a better player?
Okay, let me answer.
Can be
Let me answer the question.
as good a player.
What I'm saying is he's producing. He's producing the same numbers that Jason Kidd did at the same time.
Okay.
Now, we don't know until his career plays out
Right.
whether we don't know that.
Right.
All I can do is tell you, based on his first 4 years, compare it to Jason's first 4 years, the levels are the same. And the difference is Jason Kidd had an impact because he had the running and gunning game. So did Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons also had, accolades that he got along the way. Now, the only way we're going to know if those numbers are the same or he surpasses Jason Kidd is at the end of his career. I'm not making a comparison at the end of the year. I'm making a comparison
about right now. It's not a projection about what Ben Simmons is going to be.
No, if we just go based on what he averaged in those 4 years, it's comparable.
Okay, wonderful.
That's it. That's
they are comparable numbers at this time. That doesn't mean that this is a projection that Ben Simmons is going to be as great or greater than this guy, than Jason.
No one can say either or. No one can say either or. All we can say is the numbers are consistent across the first 4 years. Okay. That's all we can say. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I can't predict the future, but if he holds at those numbers, then yeah, he would be on par with Jason Kidd.
Listen, what happens is that we are making projections, and we're having conversation about if this happened, then that will happen.
That's all we could do on every single argument we have is going to be that.
We're wasting a lot of time on that type of conversation rather than talking about what is happening with the Knicks and what are we going to do and what are some of the projected possibilities, realistic possibilities, like you were trying to bring up about who is out there. Who are we going to trade for right now? Don't tell me about this guy, that guy.
He's realistic.
And I agree. So, but I'm saying is that Ben Simmons trade is too expensive.
Again, you can't go based on rumors. A team is going to ask for the moon. That doesn't mean they're going to get it. It's about what you negotiate.
Right, but I'm saying right now,
at that time,
right now, whatever the conversation is that is out there right now, is that the Philadelphia 76ers are asking for a lot.
Yeah, and they're not getting anything.
Well,
and they're not getting anything.
Nobody's giving it to them.
There you go.
So if the Knicks going to give them all of that they're asking, that would be wait. Something I would be against.
Wait. You can ask for the moon. You can ask for whatever you want. Doesn't mean you're gonna get it. It's what you can negotiate. It's what you can negotiate. We know that, and everything is a hypothetical until it happens. Whether it's how a player performs, whether a team gets traded or a player gets traded from one team to everything is hypothetical. So if then hypothetical, whatever the case may be, that's going to be the conversation no matter what. It's always going to be that. If the Knicks play good defense, they win. If they don't play good defense, they lose. That's a hypothetical. So that's part of the argument. We can have that argument. That doesn't dismiss it. It's part of the argument. It's got to be factored in.
So in other words, while you're saying that, if this, then that, then you have to also sit back and allow for the other side to go, well, then if this, then that. And everybody has an if-then argument.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing now, though.
Yeah, I didn't disagree.
And you don't have to be right, and you don't have to be wrong.
Exactly.
That's what we're doing now.
Exactly.
We have no choice but to sit back and speculate and ifs, and that's what this is all about.
Right.
Yeah. And I said that to G Money. I said, hey, G Money, I understand there's nothing that I'm going to say is going to convince you to like Ben. All I'm saying is these are the facts. Whether you agree, accept them or not, these are the facts. That's all. I'm giving my side.
The other part of that argument is that the other facts are that he has proven or shown to be scared of the moment.
Okay.
Soft.
Okay.
And we said that about KD coming to New York, and yet he proved to be a much better player than what we thought he was going to be.
True.
We said KD is too soft for the New York media.
Mentally.
And he came out here and he's kicking, you know what I'm saying? And taking names. But Ben is like yo, he's backing away from a moment like that in a playoff game. Yo, that scares me. That scares me more than the numbers. You can compare numbers all you want. It's how you play the game that matters. In a critical moment, you're under the basket, ready to take a 2-point to tie this game and go to the line and win it or whatever, or go to the line and tie it. You gotta have the heart. So that's showing me you ain't got no heart.
Well, that's possible. That's true.
Yes.
You know.
That's also a fact.
Okay.
That he showed us.
Okay.
Nobody has to make that up. Nobody has to look it up.
And what did Chris Webber show us when he went and cost them a championship call on a timeout when they didn't have any timeouts? It showed us what at that time he wasn't cognizant of all things surrounding him and the game. That's all that proves.
You know what that is?
Same thing with Ben Simmons.
Brain fart. That's a brain fart. Okay? But that's not having heart. Chris Webber had heart.
No one's denying that.
Okay, then. So what are you comparing Chris Webber with this?
Because that brain fart possibly cost them.
It did. Not possibly.
It cost them the national championship.
I say possibly because anything can happen. But okay. So are you saying that Ben Simmons was the reason why Philly lost?
Absolutely.
He had the ball in his hand.
He
alone didn't lose.
That wasn't a last-second play or anything.
He alone didn't lose that. He
did not.
I'll take it back. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when you're in a position, you can't be scared of the moment. He was scared of the moment. And if you say that you didn't see that, then you had your eyes closed.
No, I'm not saying I didn't see it. What I'm saying is
I'm not saying you as in you. I'm saying you in general, anybody in the general public.
Right.
Well,
I'll say this. There's a lot of players in the NBA when the game is on the line, they don't want the ball.
But we're not talking about a lot of players.
Wait. But he's part of the NBA. He's one of those players. Again, I'm not disagreeing with you that he may have shrunk in that moment. I'm not disagreeing with you. But I'm not going to say that that's exclusive to Ben either. There's a lot of other players that also have those moments. Some people, they play out of those moments and they can step up in time. Some people don't. But we got Delano that's joining us. So Delano, I don't know if you've been listening to it. We've been going at it for a little while. Go ahead, Brother Rock.
Nah, I just jumped on. I wanted to say salute to you fine gentlemen this fine evening. Y'all already know the vibes. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Share the stream, support the channel, and you know what I'm saying? As far as
what's
going on, how you feeling?
I'm good. We just beating up on H2O a little bit. And he ain't going for it. He's stepped in where G Money's stepped off.
Oh wow, okay.
Well, the issue is, Delano, Metal Steel, that we are saying
they hate Ben Simmons.
that we are saying that Ben Simmons would be an okay trade for 2 or 3 first round, second round, first round. They changed it on me every time I bring it up.
With the money he makes?
Yes, for Ben Simmons.
Oh no, you got to give him more than that.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. They want way too much, and the price is too high.
That man make about $37 million currently. And if you think about where our picks would be, if let's say okay, let's say we don't make the playoffs. Let's say maybe we're in the play-in tournament area. So that would be like maybe I give you between 9 and 13.
Right.
That's about $6 million. So you're gonna have to for him, you're gonna have to give up at least 6 draft picks in order for that to work.
Or
Currently,
if they want Kemba, and if they want Fournier, and if they want Mitchell Robinson, and if they want R.J. Barrett, because they're going to want somebody young too.
well, Mitchell Robinson contract ain't covering nothing because he don't even make more than $2 million a season right now.
Right.
So that's a blip. That's a blip on the radar. So anytime we talk about trades and they throwing Mitch, it's like you're gonna have to. He's maybe the sweetener in the deal,
Okay.
as opposed to the culmination of a deal.
Okay.
So I don't even look at Mitch as somebody that's really a trade asset unless you're talking about the throw-in. Okay, I'll give you this.
I throw him in though. I throw him
Yeah.
in with the quickness.
Right. But as far as I guess for me personal opinion, I'm kind of off the stargazing, wishing for somebody else's star to come to our team and develop into something. I know the conversation has been so far De'Aaron Fox, and personal opinion, if you can't lead your team as a franchise player to a play-in tournament, what good can you do for this team when, again, your team assembled right now is not a bad team? You know what I'm saying? In Sacramento, it's just that you might have the wrong coach. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the problem is it's not a winning culture over there, but the culmination of players on that team, if we're looking at it from a whole, we coveted some of their players too. So how bad can their roster really be if you're looking at some of the guys that's on their roster and saying, I would love for them to be on this team, but you're still, having a losing record. I say that to say this about Ben Simmons. The shooting thing, it's an ongoing conversation, but I always feel like this: if you're a competitor and your ultimate goal is to be one of the best players in the league or to get to a championship level, you as a player that's supposed to be viewed as a franchise player should always look to improve your game. You should never settle to be a certain player for such a certain amount of time. We're talking about a guy who averages 15 points per game per season. So where's the step up? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing to improve your game to where you're no longer just a second round exit at best? Because that's kind of what they are. They've just made it as far as the second round, and that's it. With him and Embiid on that team together, they've never made it further than the second round. So bringing him here, is that what you want for your team? Is that what you want for the Knicks? You want to be a second rounder?
Yes, that's what I think the argument is, that he'll be good enough for us and he's going to make us better. That's what I think the argument is.
So
I'm saying
again,
that
I think
I'm not going to give up what I have for Ben Simmons, and so was G Money saying the same thing.
so. The question I have is always going to be this, and it's very simple. What do you want? What do you view as success? Is it championship, or is it just making it into the postseason? Because if it's postseason, we already see that he'll be able to get you there. If it's championship, he hasn't proven that yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so with that in mind,
and again,
he's shrunk in the moment.
The thing is this. So yeah, he definitely helped us get to the playoffs. Now, I wouldn't put the onus on him to be the only one to get us to a championship. To get to a championship, you need a good team around you, around your stars and stuff like that. So that's a step to the next level. Getting a Ben Simmons type would take us to the next level, and then we add another piece, then we could get to a championship. but I'm not going to put the onus of a championship on one player because I don't think
Right.
that's fair to that player.
Well, I think as much as I agree with you under those circumstances, um, again, that's just how any sports franchise is built. The franchise player is the guy that's supposed to lead you. I mean, look at the fact that LeBron James and I go down the history with all of them. Um, LeBron is viewed as a franchise player, even though he has had the opportunity and the advancement of having other All Stars on his team, from Ilgauskas to Wade, Kyrie. We can go down the list of them, but he's had multiple All Stars on his team.
Yeah, that's what
But
it takes.
that team again is carried by that one player. So even with the critic, like LeBron is a player that with the game on the line, if you win that game, you'll get the credit. If you lose it, you get the criticism. Now the problem I look at with this team is we should have that guy already in our stable. I don't know if Randall is that guy, um, but we should have something to build on already. And that I think that's the problem immediately that I have. I'm not looking at any other star to come to this team until I've established a foundation first. And I'd rather do that instead of clamoring for somebody else's star or hoping that somebody else wants to come here. You know what I'm saying, and have to give up the farm for them. Brooklyn already tried that twice,
We've been
and
down
they
that
haven't won
road
a
before.
championship with that.
We brought Amari Stoudemire. We brought Spencer Haywood. We brought Bob McAdoo. We brought Carmelo Anthony. We always brought some all-star that didn't take us to the promised land. So let's do it
Well,
organically. Let's look at these young players for a year and get
all the
out
while,
and go
yeah.
to the first round just like we did last year.
And now look at this, right? Now look at how long we've made the playoffs and have been championship contenders. And I have to say that respectfully, championship contenders with Patrick Ewing, a player that we drafted as our franchise player, and the foundation that we had in regards to building a certain culture around Patrick Ewing. From the 90s, from the culmination of the 90s, from I want to say at least 93 to about 99, consistently, we've been a playoff team, right? Twice making the finals in those seasons.
If
So,
it wasn't for Mike, we might have got one.
right. So I say that respectfully with the I'm saying again that we need to establish our foundation before we start looking at bringing in other key guys. So personally, I just feel like I'm saying we should again build through the draft and take care of that. Make sure we get the right pieces, um, so that way we don't continue to make that mistake of throwing away draft picks because we did that with Melo. And as much as we appreciate what Melo did, as long as he's been here, he hasn't given us that long and that many successful seasons. We've
We didn't
made
get
it
out of the
out the
second
first
round.
round. We made it out the first round. What one time with Melo at the helm,
Yes.
and he's been here for what 5-6 years.
Because we gave up everybody to get him.
And I mean, one thing I look at is it's one thing to sit there and say, okay, I'm making smart decisions. Like, okay, for instance, and I hate to go and do the revisionist history, but it's kind of insider knowledge, right? Like when you know people inside the organization, or you know somebody that knows somebody, kind of thing. And knowing that Melo was going to come here in his free agency anyway, so we didn't have to make a trade for him. He was coming, and the conversation was Chris Paul was going to request a trade to come to the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? Based off the wedding that they attended in 2010, or
Yeah, they were on the boat.
right. So that was already a conversation that was happening. You know what I'm saying? And had we stayed pat, we would have been able to have our own big three of Chris Paul, Carmelo, and Amari Stoudemire. If James Dolan just exercised patience, we wouldn't have had to
But
give up our players and end up, you know what I'm saying, having to build through whatever we could build through, buying draft picks, you know what I'm saying, not really developing players. Had one season where we basically bought a team together, and the Knicks tape was great for what it was, but it was only one season.
The mixtape. What about the Jeremy Lin's insanity year? he ran him out of town.
Oh, well, we knew that was a gimmick anyway. Jeremy Lin was a great gimmick. It was great for ticket sales. But when it came down to, again, the team that we needed to be focused on, which was the Miami Heat at that time, look how quickly he folded. You know what I'm saying? First game in the Garden after all those, you know, those games, the game winner against Toronto, the game he had against the Lakers, against Washington and the New Jersey Nets at the time. The moment that we had the marquee matchup against the Miami Heat, 6 points, 6 turnovers. That's that's the culmination of Linsanity for you. You know what I'm saying? Because he ain't been the same place after that game.
Back to.
let me go back to your point, Delano, with regard to Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Once we had Melo, we could have still had him, because remember, we had Melo and we had Chauncey Billups. And what the Knicks chose to do was to bring in Tyson Chandler. That's why we couldn't get Chris Paul. So they didn't have Chris Paul on the radar at all, for whatever reason.
Again, yeah. Well, again, like I said, the problem is that's insider information, right? So that's not something that you're telling your boss James Dolan in, you know what I'm saying, in his penthouse. When you report to him, you're not telling them there's a plan in motion. So all you have to do is sit back, be patient, and don't do anything. Let me run the show. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget, Donnie Walsh spearheaded this whole thing to where he cleared enough cap space to where we could have been able to get not only one but two superstars on this team, right? We could have signed Melo, used the asset of Wilson Chandler and Danilo Gallinari to bring in Chris Paul at that point. And then at least at that point, you can sit there and say, here's a foundational piece. Or even if he just elected to say, okay, with Chris Paul's contract, I could give you one of those two guys, right? And it'll likely be Wilson Chandler as opposed to Danilo Gallinari because he was playing alongside David West at that time. So there's not a need for another power forward. But you were able to at least get one guy on your roster in a trade where you might have given up maybe 2 draft picks instead of the culmination of 4 or 5 picks and the players and a pick swap just to get Melo. I just feel like, you know what I'm saying, again.
Here we got Melo and Chauncey.
Yeah, but don't forget, Melo and Chauncey was a trade together. But Chauncey, again, the way the offense was being ran through D'Antoni, that pace wasn't set for Chauncey long term.
Mm.
So that's why they were quicker to amnesty Chauncey than they were to amnesty or try to avoid the contract of Tyson Chandler, or try to bring the value down on the contract of Tyson Chandler, because the way they wanted to run that offense was a faster pace than what Chauncey provided. But you know who wasn't too fast for? Chris Paul.
Well, that's that ship sailed. So we're back to the reality of today. and what is in the final analysis your opinion of where the direction we should take for this year, for the now?
Roll with what you got. Personally, if you're not trading Fournier, then just roll with what you got and work through the draft. Personal opinion. I'd rather lose with what we got to build towards the future than to sit there and try to make it make sense on the hope that this person that I sign next works out.
Yeah. You're trying to forge something instead of allowing it to develop itself, which is when they brought in the Kemba and Fournier, that's enough of a change to that starting lineup that needs to gel. Now you want to switch it up and bring another third guy that needs to gel with whoever we got. I'm with the camp that says, or I am of the belief that I have guys on that bench that I drafted that I think deserve a good, long, hard look. Give them the next 50 games and let's see what we get out of them.
Yeah, because you already know they're not in the long-term plans anyway. And we're talking about guys that have got 2-year contracts.
I'm talking about my rooks,
at the most.
Man. I'm hoping that my rooks will be the ones that want to carry the day.
Well, the only reason I'm not playing them is because we already know who the coach is. So I honestly just feel like even in the conversation of bringing in the rookies and all that stuff, I just don't see that happening. You know what I mean? You've had the opportunity to play guys like Kevin Knox, who sat on your bench for 2 to 3 years before you got there. He had the opportunity to, run Frank. And, you didn't do anything with them. You know what I mean? You kind of let Frank, walk out the door. And no, I'm not no Frank fan, so this ain't, I'm not I'm not in here clamoring for Frank or anything like that. I'm just making a point of Tibbs already showed you how he's gonna rock.
Right.
You know
and
what I'm
that's
saying?
Unfortunate. In my opinion, that's unfortunate because that means that you are not open to assess yourself. You assess the team, you assess other players, you look at what they do, but you don't make any changes with yourself to allow yourself your opportunity to grow and maybe Knox shot himself in the foot, man. When he was given the opportunity, he was not necessarily burning it up. I see Grimes doing something, and I see Deuce doing something in the limited minutes that they've got.
I'm gonna tell you what killed Knox's career before it even started. It's the conversation that you had prior to his draft, well, after his draft pick. When you hear the word low motor, development, project, and you're picking this person in a lottery, that's not a lottery pick.
Yeah.
A lottery pick is normally a guy that you view as somebody that can initially start or somebody you can plug in immediately to play.
Mm-hmm.
Not somebody you got to turn into a player. That killed Kevin Knox's career before it even started. Those words specifically, project and low motor. Because, again, if he worked hard enough, he could have been a decent player. So I don't know how much of that you want to put on Knox himself, because you gotta prove it too when you step on the court. If that's the job you're trying to get, then you can't, you can't take plays off. You can't look like you don't care.
Right. And he always looks like he's got no emotion. His
But
face is very, very bland. Like he's not engaged.
right. And the truth of the matter is he wasn't. Not in Kentucky, not all the time. Like his focus was always elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? The culmination of everything they talk about with him when it comes down to that draft pick was simply the 31-point game that he dropped on West Virginia. So
Okay.
you're basing everything that he did in college off of that one game.
One great game.
So where is the sequence of great games altogether as opposed to you had a lucky game? You
There
know
is
what I
no body
mean?
of work.
And I think that's where, I'm saying again, the front office needs to do a better job of bringing in players because again, look at how many players the Knicks were calling for, Knicks fans were calling for between Michael Porter Jr., Miles and Mikal Bridges, and a few,
Bridges.
Shea Gilgis, Alexander, Chance, and all that stuff. And you could have addressed those needs, but you elected for the project.
Right.
And nothing about that screams improvement when you have to improve the player that you drafted.
Well, and not only that, but the individual himself has to also, you're a professional now, man. You're a professional. This is your job. This is you. You got to develop your skills. Now put out videos of you shooting 3-pointers in the summertime so you can show everybody that you can make them consistently and all that stuff. When the ball goes up, that's when you have to perform. And he underperformed for the pick that he was. And I think everybody else that went after him all the way up to 10 has performed better than him. So that was just a bad scouting report. Or maybe we just owed who was it, Calipari? We owe Calipari something because we keep on taking his players.
But also, we have to consider the fact that he's had 3 different coaches. And Fizdale basically, because this first season seemingly was his best season. And then after that, he started getting less and less run, and they were switching coaches. So, he does seemingly have that low motor that was bestowed upon him before even getting into the league. However, it didn't help him to have, so many coaches in his young career. And when he got there, he was what? He was 18 years old, something like that.
Right. But
4 years later, 4 years later, there's been no progression in his game, and he's not a Tibbs type player.
And I'm gonna tell you exactly what's so crazy about that, Bill, because I want to compound on that point. And I want you to bear with me when I do this, okay?
I got you.
It's about reading between the lines with Coach Tibbs a lot of times, right? And I'm gonna explain what I mean by that. When you heard about Obi Toppin being drafted, Emmanuel Quickly being drafted, and how Coach Tibbs feels about them during training camp or doing their impromptu training camp, you know what I'm saying? The first thing you heard about him was all the things that, first off, the expression that Tibbs had the moment you mentioned their names. A smile came across his face. He gave you a rundown of everything that they did positively. Obi was the highest scoring on his strength and conditioning test. IQ had such a high score on his basketball IQ test. They're gym rats. There's so many things that you could build upon to where you can see why Tibbs would eventually play these guys, right? When they asked about Kevin Knox, he said he practices well.
Okay.
And that is it.
That's it.
There is no other conversation behind it. He practices well. Next question. You mean to tell me you can give me a rundown of everything that Obi Toppin does, even if you played him only 12 minutes? There is so many things that you see positively from this guy. And the only thing you have for me with Kevin Knox is he practices well. Right there, see, read between the lines. He tried to let you know right then and there, there's a level of focus that he doesn't have that he needs to establish. So even while you got guys practicing with him and training with him, they even surpass him in certain elements of practice and in game involvement to where that's why they earn the minutes that they earn.
I agree. I agree.
If anybody's going to be traded, Kevin Knox is on that package deal. Because we got to get something for him.
Hey, I agree there too.
Otherwise, he's just going to go and he can walk. I mean, him and Frank, they did the same thing for me. They didn't give me nothing. They didn't give me nothing in the time they were here.
For whatever reason, I used to like Frank. I like Frank.
Well, you can like Frank, but the numbers. hey, remember what the coach said, right? The numbers. the facts are the facts, right? The numbers are the facts.
You're right.
He never did anything. Unfortunately, maybe he didn't even get an opportunity. But and he was unfairly thrown in a playoff game. All of a sudden, here, man,
For 30 seconds.
Right?
You don't think that maybe he could have been given a shot as much as Trey was destroying us? Maybe, Tibbs could have thrown him in there and tried to slow him down instead of insisting on Bullock to play him straight up, and Bullock was getting destroyed.
That's
as
right.
great of a defender that
this.
they said Bullock was, Bullock could not handle that kid.
No.
But think about this, Bill. Here's the problem with Tibbs, specifically when it came down to that situation with Frank. He based that 19 seconds that he put Frank on the floor and got blown by a cold Frank. Right? That one play was enough to deter Tibbs from ever playing Frank again in any point in that series.
Yep.
You gave him one play in 45 minutes, 46 minutes, 47 minutes. You said, listen, I need you to go out there and get a stop. I ain't even warmed up.
Right.
I haven't ran. I haven't jogged. I haven't walked anywhere. I've been sitting on this bench. You expect me to go against a guy who's already in rhythm and stop him? Oh yeah, by all means, put me in, coach. When have you ever seen anybody do that? Come in the game and all of a sudden they just shut somebody down?
He was outcoached. He was outcoached.
He was outcoached. Yep.
And then all of a sudden he wanted to make a coaching move that he was hoping was gonna, help him look good, and it made him look worse.
Just, when it comes down to Tibbs, I mean, you have to take the good with the bad for all the conversation. And of course, he earned the Coach of the Year accolade he got last year. But the gift was the curse. The gift was the curse.
Yep.
Yes.
Julius Randle had a great season.
That was a curse.
He was an all-star. He was an all-star. He had an all-star season. He's not an all-star player.
Season. He's not an all-star.
That's right.
He's not an all-star.
And that's what I'm saying.
At best.
He had an all-star season. He's not an all-star player. There are guys that are mainstays in the all-star team. When you look at, again, players like Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's an all-star level player. He might miss one or two, but for the culmination of his career, he's an all-star level player. Joel Embiid will be an all-star level player.
And I hate his game.
Julius Randle is going to have an all-star nod to his name. the same way Jamal McGlure did back in the day,
Oh, damn.
the same way Gordon Hayward did a few years ago.
Wow.
That's
Jamal
right.
McGlure. Wow, you brought me back with that one.
But see, this
And
is
you are correct. You are correct
but
about
but this,
Julius.
but this to show my knowledge too, because some people like to talk the talk. I listen. I'm not gonna talk the talk. I'm gonna give you some logic behind my thoughts. You
You
know
are
what
the
I'm
man of
saying?
steel. We don't doubt you.
Listen, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? But again, you don't want to be that person to just, okay, I heard you before. You know what I'm saying? And all you doing is, I heard you before. So I like to, what I'm saying, I like to at least have points in my analysis to where if I'm giving it to you, it ain't just fluff. It ain't just a conversation for the sake of having a conversation. Let's break everything down so that way you understand that you're not dealing with somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about. Some people, what I'm saying, they'll get on the panel and kind of make a fool of themselves. I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? I respect y'all and, what I'm saying, y'all platform too much to do something like that. Now, I might troll with love. You know what I'm saying? I might say something crazy for a laugh, you know what I'm saying? But overall, I want to at least show my IQ so that way, you know what I'm saying, you can take my takes, as serious as I give them.
And we do. And that's what we do over here, man. We just we just give it up the way how we feel. And sometimes, just like how you do, you come on sometimes when you're just joking. We all do that. We all do that, and it's just that we like all the other cat podcasts say, we love the Knicks, and we just gonna talk about it. That's all.
Absolutely.
Not
And no
even
matter what,
being
and
sure.
the funny thing is, no matter how we feel, like we all have a difference of opinion. Like even now, you know what I'm saying? We could be split on the Ben Simmons thing. You know what I'm saying? You guys could have positive takes on what Ben Simmons can do to his attributes, right? And you could be right about that. But I could also be right when it comes down to the crunch time moments and the fact that he'll fold or he'll shrink in moments when we might need a franchise player to step up. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't be wrong in that take either. But the biggest thing is, as long as we have at some point at least a medium and understanding that there's a reason to our logic, there's a reasoning behind the points that we make.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That with that again, having a difference of opinion, but at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, which is the success of the Knicks. So, again, I salute y'all, gentlemen. You know what I mean? Appreciate y'all for letting me, what I'm saying, talk my talk and everything. And overall, I just feel like, again, we just, what I'm saying, we took a step forward and it knocked us 3 steps back. And now it's just a matter of trying to fix it and correct the mistake.
Men of Steel.
Yeah,
Another point that was brought out, I was listening earlier today, is that we are basically at the same place that we were record-wise last year. We're about one
right,
or two games under 500 last year.
right.
At this time, after 32 games or 31 games or whatever it is.
But you know why it didn't look so bad? Because we were a scrappy bunch.
We were playing
We
defense.
fought, we fought tooth and nail.
Yes.
Any team that played against us knew they were in for a fight. You might have had a couple of games, and I'll specifically mention the Milwaukee and Denver game last year, where from beginning to end, we were outclassed and outcoached. But again, that's 2 games, and on top of that, with that Milwaukee game, we got them. We got them first. We
Right.
beat them by 20
Like 20.
before they got us.
Right.
So that just goes to show that again, we fight and we fight with integrity. We fight with the city on our back. You know what I'm saying? We fight with that chip on our shoulder. And this year we don't have the identity anymore. And the front office executive said that.
I heard Alan Hahn on a podcast, and he said that what we need are dogs, and what we got are puppies. We need some, and again, it was just the fact that the way that we play in defense, it's not the way that we played defense last year. And that's our identity. And what happened was that in this year, somebody got it into their head that we were going to become more of an offensive-minded team and throw away the defensive mindset that gave us the kind of year that we had last year.
I think that's where coaches Tibbs versus management the disconnect is there.
Okay.
Because Tibbs is a certain type of coach. They know what type of coach he is, but I think that they try to I won't say force, but insist on us having a better offense.
A better offense.
Than what Tibbs normally has. Because we gotta be honest. Tibbs is not the best offensive coach. Tibbs is a defensive genius, probably a better defensive coordinator than a head coach. But he's our head coach. And he won coach of the year, doing it his way with what we had in a season that wasn't regularly a regular normal season. But now, especially in the East, teams got better.
Everybody
got better, so we have to find a way to get number 4 this year, which is not likely at all.
What, to get the 4th spot?
To get the 4th spot.
Oh,
that's not likely.
Man.
That's not likely at all.
Anywhere between 6 and 10, man, and I'm feeling good.
It's a shame to sit there and admit that, because
it's a shame.
Nobody wants to ever say we're regressed after finally progressing. We've had 6 to 7 years of being lottery bound, one playoff year just to go back to the lottery or potentially go back to the lottery. Like, that doesn't bode well. That doesn't say much for the franchise if that's all you got to give me. You know what I'm saying? It's like a 10-year average of making one playoff appearance.
Right. Well, I'm hoping that there's going to be a turnaround coming. I mean, there's no doubt that Tibbs' job is going to be on the line pretty soon. So he might go from coach of the year to being fired in a year and a half later.
Shout out to Dwayne Casey, because we know that it ain't the first time that
happened. Right. Okay.
But,
so Toronto, right?
Yeah. Yep. But how often do you want to do that? Because that's another thing too. We gotta break that part of it. Yeah, we gotta break that part. We gotta break that cycle too. We can't keep doing this thing where it's a season and a half of a coach or 2 years of a coach, and then you're getting rid of them.
That's the other part.
I'll be honest. I think the problem really, because no matter how you connect it, the front office bears the entirety of the blame, right? From the coaching decision to the franchise player, to the simple aspect of, what I'm saying, just getting the Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, yeah. I was saying, as far as, the draft picks, the free agent signings, all of it basically boils down to the culmination of what the front office has done. Okay. So the first thing that I'm looking at is what did the front office do with regularity, win or lose, right? And I feel like the one thing that they should have done, popular or unpopular opinion, is fire Scott Perry when you fired Steve Mills. If you're gonna start from scratch, start from scratch. I've never heard anybody say I'm gonna build this brand new building, but I'm gonna use these old bricks.
Okay.
So the first thing I want to do is blame them, because also I'm looking at through the
Yeah, now we lost you. But what Scott Perry also didn't he bring in Coach Tibbs?
Yes, he did.
So that was the connection there.
But he also brought it. Didn't he bring in Fizdale too? Or no?
I think Scott Perry came in after
Fizdale.
After the other guy came in. Yeah, or was
okay? I stand correct.
This one was already here. Yes.
I stand corrected.
Listen, I think that one of the other mistakes that I think that the Knicks is that they don't have another well-known or another NBA caliber coach on that bench. Every team has at least 2 or 3 coaches that have coached somewhere else. So he needs somebody that can do those conversations and push back on some of the stuff that Tibbs is talking, because when Tibbs talk, all he got is a bunch of yes men.
That's why I've been saying we were missing Woody.
Woody.
When Woody left, we fell.
Well, he probably was tired of banging heads with him too, maybe.
Maybe. Woody accepted that job with that job with Indiana, and I think that hurt us because, again, when you look at the fact that the way we were winning games in the moment that he walked away, or the moment that he started his tenure with Indiana, you started to see a decline in the way we played offensively. Our defense picked up, but our offense came to a complete stall. To where now we're playing again. Look at how we had to fight Boston in the last game in order to secure our spot in the 4th seed. And we were basically scrapping with G Leaguers. That doesn't, what I'm saying, for us to have that kind of faith in a coach like that, I think the bottom line is that he spent this entire off season bringing in developmental coaches when he should have brought in at least 1 or 2 offensive-minded, offensive scheme level coaches.
Thank you. We just finished having that conversation. I don't know if you were on
100.
Stopped off for a minute there, but that's exactly what we just said. That every
I must have got cut off at some point. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because every other team on the bench, you see at least 2 head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got 1 head coach and a bunch of developmental coaches. So, Bodega Wi-Fi says, I wanted them to give Woodson's spot to Mark Jackson. That's another conversation we were having recently, that if there is going to be ever a coaching change, what's wrong with Mark Jackson?
Well, he's blackballed. That's the problem.
Clearly, because he's, in my opinion, I would right now, I would if they were willing to do it, bring him over here, and if they want to keep Tibbs as the defensive coordinator, I'd be all for that.
Yeah, but they talked about him wanting the guys to pray or go to prayer services with him or something, and that's it.
But he didn't force that on them. That was optional.
But again,
and certain players, those guys loved Mark Jackson, man.
I know they did.
They loved Mark Jackson.
He made that Warriors team.
Yes, he did.
He did. Over to this guy, what's his name? And all of a sudden, he's become the greatest coach ever. Nah,
Kerr.
Man, that team was set.
They were. and you saw the evidence in that. Remember when Kerr was out, and then who they had coaching? Luke Walton.
Yeah.
And they was like what, 18-2 under Luke Walton, something like that.
Right.
So it is obvious that Mark Jackson is a good coach, and especially with young players and young development players, because he was also the one that said that Stephen Clay would be the best shooting backcourt ever in the
Right.
history.
So
He
true.
said that before it came to fruition.
Right.
So, that's why us New Yorkers want Mark Jackson here.
Mark Johnson.
That's all.
Well, gentlemen, it's going to be 1 o'clock in the morning where I'm sitting, and I'm about to say thank you all for coming on. So maybe we'll do this again on Thursday after another Knick win against the Washington Bullets.
Yep,
And
yep,
next
yep.
Saturday after another win. Oh, I call them the Washington Bullets. Oh, I'm dating myself. The Wizards, right? And after
And
we
then-
beat the Hawks on Saturday, man.
Hawks on Christmas at noon, I believe.
That's our Christmas gift, man.
Yeah, let's get it. So take us out.
All right, man. As we like to say every time at the end of another episode, once a Knick, always
the Knick.
a Knick.
Salute, gentlemen.
Thanks for coming on, Esquire and Man of Steel.
Salute.
Good night.